When you hear all that glitters are not gold, that's the story of the handsome, talented medical Dr. Martin. He had his life planned out and got married to the woman of his dream, despite warning from family and friends. Will Martin have and enjoy the kind of peaceful home he planned for himself, or would there be a twist of fate? To find out what happened, get your popcorn and headset, get a comfortable position, because I'm about to take you on a journey of various emotions, but trust me, you will love it. Martin grew up with hunger seated beside him like a sibling. He learned early in life that the world gave nothing for free, not bread, not comfort, not rest. After his father's sudden death, everything changed. The man who used to lift him high and call him my future doctor was gone, leaving behind a widow and 3 small children who didn't yet understand that poverty had just moved into their home permanently. Mama Dora tried. God knows she tried. A thin woman with cracked heels and eyes that permanently carried yesterday's exhaustion. She woke before sunrise to pound cassava, hawk palm oil, sweep compounds for neighbors, and wash clothes in exchange for whatever they could give. Sometimes it was money, sometimes food, sometimes just promises. But she never stopped. Martin remembered nights where their stomachs cried louder than the crickets outside. Nights where Mama Dora boiled empty pots just so the children would think food was coming and fall asleep waiting. Nights where she covered Martin and his siblings with her own wrapper because the cold harmattan air bit through the torn mats they used as beddings. Still, she had a dream, a stubborn one. Martin, she told him over and over, you will rise. You will become the doctor your father dreamed you'd be. And you will carry your brother and sister with you. Martin believed her because hope was all they had. He studied with a candle that never lasted the night. He walked miles to school on an empty stomach, fainting once in class because hunger mocked his strength. There were days he knocked on neighbors' doors and begged for leftover pap or whatever they didn't finish. Anything to quiet the gnawing pain in his belly. People whispered that the boy might not survive childhood, but he survived. He pushed. He endured. When the admission letter to study medicine and surgery came, the village rejoiced, but his family cried. Not from joy, but from fear. How would they pay? Even the acceptance fee was more than they had ever held in their hands. Mama Dora began borrowing, first from neighbors, then from cooperatives, then from people who made her sign papers she couldn't read. She sold her wrappers. She sold her jewelry, even the tiny earrings her late husband bought for her when she was pregnant with Martin. She sold everything except her dignity. Relatives shook their heads and warned her, "You want him to be a doctor? Doctor with what money?" But she ignored them, and Martin went to school. University life was not glamorous for him. While his mates wore perfumes and nice shoes, Martin wore the same 3 shirts for 2 straight years. He washed them by night, ironed them by placing them under his mattress to flatten, then wore them again in the morning. He skipped meals so often that hunger became habitual. He fainted twice during practical sessions. Some lecturers pitied him, others insulted him, but Martin kept moving. He graduated with honors. He became the pride of his mother, the proof that suffering could produce something beautiful. But the first stone was thrown into his life the day he met Kendra. It was in the hospital during his housemanship. She was a nurse, beautiful in a way that made the world look pale beside her, fair-skinned like fresh milk, curves that moved with dangerous confidence, a voice soft enough to melt even the strongest of men. Every male staff admired her. Every patient stared. Martin was no exception. She smiled at him once, and it was enough. He fell, but his family saw what he didn't. Mama Dora pulled him aside one evening, her voice shaking. "Martin, that girl, something about her spirit does not sit well with me," his uncle said. "Beauty can be a curse if it has no character." His aunt said, "Don't marry a woman your spirit cannot read." Even his younger brother Samuel warned him. "Brother, Her eyes don't look at you. They look through you. But love blinds the intelligent. Martin ignored them all. He borrowed money from relatives to do an introduction he couldn't afford. Borrowed again to host a wedding he could barely survive. Borrowed until his dignity became collateral. He married her anyway, and for a short while life tasted sweet, just long enough for pain to feel twice as sharp when it arrived. The problems began softly, like whispers becoming storms. Kendra changed after their first child, Michael. She stopped waking early, stopped helping around the house, stopped responding to Martin's affection. But she was beautiful, too beautiful, and Martin made excuses for her because he believed beauty required special handling. After Danielle was born, the marriage cracked deeper. Kendra grew colder, more distant. She started receiving calls outside, whispering with a smile that no longer belonged to her husband. By the time Joseph came, she had stopped pretending. She flirted openly, lied confidently, came home late reeking of expensive colognes Martin didn't own, stopped cooking entirely, stopped taking care of the house, stopped caring for their children. She left everything, feeding, bathing, school runs, homework, on Martin. The same Martin who worked 24-hour shifts at the hospital. The same Martin who once begged food to stay alive. Now the same Martin who returned home exhausted only to continue working for a family he was the only one holding together. He cooked with trembling hands after surgeries, washed clothes at midnight so the kids wouldn't go to school smelling like neglect, learned how to style Danielle's hair by watching YouTube videos between patients. He packed lunchboxes, attended PTA meetings, held crying children when Kendra ignored them. He did everything. And Kendra did nothing but enjoy the world outside the marriage. She had one affair, then another, then another. It became regular. It became normal. It became a lifestyle she didn't bother hiding. When Martin confronted her, she laughed. You think being a doctor makes you enough? I need a man who knows how to handle a woman, not a man who hides behind responsibility. Those words stabbed him deeper than any blade could. But he stayed, because love was patient, because love forgave, because he believed marriage was endurance, because he remembered what his mother suffered to educate him. So Martin endured. He endured for 1 year, then 2, then 5, then 10, then 15, 17 years of betrayal, 17 years of humiliation, 17 years of sleeping beside a stranger who gave her body to the world and her silence to him. 17 years of carrying a home alone. But one evening changed everything. He came home early, unplanned, unannounced, and he found Kendra dressing up in the mirror, wearing the kind of dress she never wore for him anymore. Perfume thick in the air, lips painted, hair curled, skin glowing. He stood at the door watching her, his heart breaking for the millionth time. Kendra, please, he whispered, don't go tonight. The children haven't eaten. Joseph has fever. Danielle needs help with her assignment. Please stay. She didn't even look at him. You are suffocating me, Martin. I'm going out. If you want a housewife, go to the village and marry one. And she walked past him again. Something in Martin died that night. He sat alone after the children slept, staring into darkness, thinking about hunger, about poverty, about sacrifice, about promises, about the weight he had carried for too long. He finally realized something. This woman was not his partner. She was his punishment. And for the first time in 17 long, painful years, Martin decided he deserved peace. He deserved rest. He deserved love. He deserved someone who cared. He decided to walk away. He decided to choose heaven over hell. But the universe wasn't done with him. Something was coming. Something that would shake everything again. Something that would make the world question him. Something that would decide the fate of his children, his future, and even his sanity. And before that storm begins, the question remains. After 17 years of pain, betrayal, and humiliation, did Martin finally do the right thing? Or should he have stayed because of the children? If you enjoyed the story, please like, comment, and share the story, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel as it will encourage me to drop more interesting stories. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.